Welcome to this explainer. I am so thrilled you're here today because we are unpacking a truly massive, industry-wide shift. For years, the big debate in the insurance tech world was whether to stay on-premise or move to the cloud. Well, looking at the landscape in 2026, that question has completely stopped being theoretical. It is happening right now. Today, we're going to break down exactly what this Guidewire Cloud pivot means for insurers, for architectures, and most importantly, for your career, using all the hard data and expert analysis we've gathered.
Okay, let's dive right into this because this number tells you everything you need to know. Over $1.1 billion, $1,147 million to be exact. That is Guidewire's reported annual recurring revenue by the third quarter of fiscal 2026. Listen, this isn't just a trend anymore. The money has already moved. Cloud ARR has been growing at a staggering pace, making up roughly 3/4 of their total revenue, while legacy on-premise licenses are just in decline. The market has absolutely spoken. To get our heads around this massive transition, here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the shift to the cloud, dig into the actual architecture differences, look at security and costs, break down how insurers actually pull off these migrations, and finally, bring it right down to your personal career path.
All right, part 1, the shift to cloud from a 2026 perspective.
Let's establish our baseline for the modern era. What is it? Guidewire Cloud, or GWCP, is insurance suite delivered as a software as a service. Under the hood, it's built on AWS, utilizing Kubernetes and Docker to manage and scale the applications. But perhaps the biggest game changer of the whole shebang is the release cadence. Instead of dealing with a massive upgrade every 5 years, insurers are now getting updates roughly 3 times a year. We're talking about those named releases you probably heard of: Mammoth, Niseko, Olus, and Palisades. It's just a constant stream of new capabilities.
Contrast that with Guidewire On-Premise, which is now officially called self-managed. This is where the insurer actually installs the software on infrastructure they own and completely control. Now, complete control sounds great on paper, right? But look at the reality of it. It requires discrete, heavily funded upgrade projects. And if you've ever lived through one of those, you know exactly how painful they are. The strategic pressure here is severe version drift. Because the cloud platform is accelerating with multiple releases every single year, an insurer sitting on a fixed self-managed version literally falls further and further behind every single month.
Moving on to part 2, architecture differences, basically looking under the hood.
Now, what's really interesting here is the fundamental shift from fixed capacity to elasticity. With a self-managed setup, you have fixed hardware. Say you get hit by a catastrophe and claims suddenly surge, or a new marketing campaign drives a tenfold spike in quotes. Your system can only handle what you physically bought and provisioned. It's a hard ceiling. But with the cloud, because it relies on containerized workloads orchestrated by Kubernetes on AWS, it has elastic scaling. It seamlessly absorbs those massive spikes in workload without breaking a sweat, and then shrinks right back down when the rush is over. Actually, I want to pause here for a quick myth buster. You will definitely see a lot of job adverts and training materials out there claiming Guidewire Cloud runs on AWS and Azure. That is fundamentally incorrect. The platform runs on AWS. Microsoft Azure is only used for a very specific native map service, like catastrophe heat maps, which was introduced in the Niseko release. I bring this up because, well, if you're going into an interview, knowing this exact distinction separates a truly credible candidate from someone who just rehearsed a bunch of buzzwords. Architecture isn't just about service, though. It's about how systems talk to each other. In the old on-premise days, integration pretty much meant writing custom Gosu plugins inside the application itself. In the cloud, that is totally transformed into an externalized API-first surface. We are talking about versioned REST endpoints, an integration gateway that keeps custom code entirely out of the core, event-driven publishing through app events, and streaming analytics via cloud data access. It is a completely modernized, decoupled way of engineering.
Which brings us to part 3, security and costs, and the business trade-offs that come with them.
And this brilliantly illustrates the financial reality of the choice. It really comes down to the cost shape. Self-managed requires massive capital expenditure. You buy the servers, you fund the huge multi-year upgrade projects. The cloud shifts this to an operating expenditure, so it's a predictable subscription. And yeah, while that subscription is a permanent cost, it entirely eliminates those massive, painful legacy upgrade spikes. You also see a huge shift in security, moving from the insurer bearing literally 100% of the burden to a shared responsibility model, where Guidewire secures the underlying platform.
So why does Guidewire push this so hard? Well, because of this number right here, 74%.
That was Guidewire's subscription and support gross margin in Q3 2026. Operating the platform at scale is highly efficient for them, and honestly, that kind of efficiency is something a single insurer just cannot replicate by running their own independent estate.
So here is the ultimate business compromise boiled down for you. The cloud trade-off means you have to standardize. You can't write infinite, deep custom code into the core platform anymore. But in exchange, you get safe, automated updates and immediate access to cutting-edge AI and analytics. The self-managed trade-off gives you total control and infinite customization, but it practically guarantees slower innovation and severe version drift. For most of the market today, speed and AI readiness are winning that argument hands down.
Part 4. How insurers actually migrate. The reality of the replatforming process.
Let's be clear, these 5 steps represent real, heavy-lifting engineering. It is not a simple lift and shift. First up is assessment, taking an inventory of all that old custom code. Second is planning, where you sequence the apps. Often folks move ClaimCenter first just to prove the model. Third is data migration, which means mapping old, disconnected databases into a unified cloud model. Fourth is rigorous testing, and fifth is deployment through a managed CI/CD pipeline. It requires a dedicated team of certified professionals to pull this off without disrupting the daily business.
But does all that hard work actually pay off? Absolutely yes. Look at this verifiable data from the Definity case study. By migrating their legacy insurance suite to the Guidewire Cloud, they achieved deployment speeds 10 times faster, 75% less downtime, and their broker quote response times got 34% faster. To put that into perspective, that speed directly translated into serious business value, a 4% increase in total quotes. These are massive, concrete operational advantages.
And finally, Part 5, your career path in adapting to this new cloud era. So the crucial point here is this 2026 salary data coming out of India. You see a huge gap. An early career developer averages around 7.96 lakh, but senior professionals and architects are pulling in over 20.4 lakh. Why the massive difference? Because the premium rates just aren't going to basic configurators anymore. The big money is going to the architects and engineers who can navigate complex cloud-native integrations and actually lead those massive migration programs we just talked about.
If you want to command those premium rates, these are the exact skills system integrators are desperately looking for to staff their cloud projects right now. You need to be fluent in REST APIs and JSON. You absolutely need to understand the integration gateway and app events. Now, you don't have to be a Kubernetes administrator, but you must understand its mechanics alongside AWS fundamentals and CI/CD pipelines. And crucially, you need the analytical skills to look at a legacy system and rationalize what custom code to keep and what to just throw away.
So, how do you get there? Here is your step-by-step learning path. But please pay super close attention to Step 1, Property and Casualty Insurance Basics. Skipping the insurance foundation is literally the most costly mistake you can make. You have to understand what an endorsement or a claim reserve is before you can configure it, right? From there, you build your core go-to skills, moving to